It's the controversial story which hit the front pages yesterday. The parents of two boys on the Isle of Wight who are threatening to sue their son's school because of a uniform policy that allows children to embrace transgenderism. And they say they're taking the action on behalf of parents everywhere.
Well, Nigel and Sally Rowe have decided to homeschool their 6-year-old son after a boy in his class started wearing a dress. A year previously, they'd removed their 8-year-old son for exactly the same reason, and they both join us now, and this is emotive. It's had a hell of a reaction.
Yes, it's been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
I think the first thing I wanted to say was, you know, that the headlines of suing the school. I don't think that's really accurate. It's actually about taking the school to an educational tribunal.
Right.
So it sounds very inflammatory.
I understand that.
Saying that. So that's not the case at all.
OK.
All right. Well, that's cleared that up.
Yeah.
And I know that you definitely wanted to put your side of the story here because, as I said, the headlines have been quite incendiary. The reaction has been quite incendiary. OK. So why do you have an issue with this?
Well, I think the issue here is we're talking about primary school. We're talking about very young children. We're talking about children 5, 6, 7, 8. To us, that seems extremely young to start pushing, you know, a social agenda on such young children. It's different when you become an adult or a teenager. You can start working through those things. But at such a young age, we feel that a child is not able to make an informed decision. It's a major life-changing thing.
I think we've done a lot of transgender interviews on here. Met a lot of children who have decided that they are gender fluid, and a lot of parents who as well. The parents, I think, pretty much on the whole, I could say that never pushed their children into this. It was the child's choice to help them. It was the child that had the issue that they felt. I want to do this for me.
Yes. I think we would say that, you know, children at that young who have a confusion about which gender they are, that they need that support. You know, we have compassion and love about these families and the families. This has been a very painful thing because we are friends with these people. We love the school, and we do assemblies. We're very involved, but we see the effect of this on there, and we just felt that the process that happened is not right. It was just like pushed. This is going to happen one day. They just turn up. A boy wearing a girl's dress with a girl's name, instead of having a proper consultation with that. And we just feel that that child needs to be taken aside with medical advice, people who experience... Medical
advice?
Well,
why
yes.
medical advice? Why does a child who decides they're gender fluid need medical advice?
Well, under the Equality Act, apparently, you know, it's at the age of 18 this starts, and you have to show that you have been a transgender for 2 years and that sort of thing. But again, it comes down to it being a child. You see, a child of that so young can't make that informed decision. It's far too young. And the statistic also apparently is that 98%, I believe, of people who say that they felt like that when they were younger turn out not to be like that at all. And I think it could be damaging not only to you know, the transgender, but all the other kids.
Can I make, because obviously, you know, you made the decision to take both your children out and homeschool them because they were under a amount of stress, and I can understand that it might have been a shock that one day suddenly a boy comes in a dress and the name's changed, and without that understanding of what's happened, I can understand that that might have been an unusual thing to happen. But is this not part of the understanding that by doing this, there is greater understanding, and actually it could have been a chance to open up a conversation to educate, so it became more normal, so it wasn't a stressful situation?
I totally agree with you, but we felt that it shouldn't be done in the environment of the school. It should be done out of the school. These things have to be dealt with out.
They are at school, aren't they? I guess that's the thing.
It's a major part of that child's life. It's where they spend most of their time.
But then you're imposing that on all the other children.
Why is it an imposition?
Because you are asking them. They know that one day they know that child, that they're the friends, they're a boy, this is their name, and now you're saying, now you have to now call them he, she, change the pronoun, change the name.
There'll be a lot of people who are saying that children adapt remarkably well, if things are explained to them, then they understand very clearly. It's not an issue with the children; it's an issue with you. You're the ones that have the problem, not the children.
Well, how do you deal with a child then because one of the children comes sometimes as a boy, sometimes as a girl. So
Just explain it.
how do you address that? How do you address that every day?
Explain.
And then and what about if there's a situation where, you know, that they're supposedly supposed to use the correct pronoun and they don't? Will the other children get chastised for that? It's a very social, complex issue, and we just feel that for such young children, it's not right.
So what's the answer then? Because if this child that is transitioning or deciding to explore or being fluid or whatever they decide to say, if they're going through this in their life, to keep other parents and other children happy, should they just be hidden away, taken to a school where they can go and wear what they want and just be...
You know, I think we've really got to understand something here. We're talking about children, and they are all special and unique. And the parents, you know, they want to do the best for their children.
Which is what that parent was doing,
yes,
I guess.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they would say. That would be their argument.
Absolutely, they would say that. But we personally felt that they probably received the wrong advice. I think also there's a great sort of media thing where they're trying to push this and that it's a good thing. But I think there's more to it. I think there's, you know, we need to look at the scientific evidence behind it, and you know, whether this is actually healthy. And as I said, the statistic that
I don't think media's pushing it. I think media's recognising it for the first time.
It's the same sort of situation, you know, where as a child who years ago would have been terrified, chastised for coming out as gay. And maybe would you have been part of those parents who said, well, not in my school, because things move on, people change.
Well,
attitudes change. We're less medieval now than we used to be.
Attitudes do change, and actually, I mean, you've got a point there. I think society, you know, is going to have to decide. I think there are many parents throughout I mean, the reason we stood up, want to make a stand for this, we believe there are many parents throughout the whole UK who would be concerned with that. But at the end of the day, it looks like, well, society is going to decide how schools are going to be. But I just want to make a point that how far is it going to go? Are we going to allow children then to come dressed as animals? Or if I mean, there's things called, I mean, this is extreme, I agree. You know, for example, species dysphoria. Are we going to then, you know, allow children then to come in because they believe they're an animal side? I think, how's that going to affect the other children? I think we've got to think about the whole picture. We've got to think about all the other kids.
It just seems... I was looking at something that you said to us. As Christians, we believe that gender identity disorder is something that needs to be addressed with love and compassion.
Yes.
From what you've said here, it doesn't appear to be either loving or compassionate, that you want them to bury that and not go to school and be themselves.
It's not that. You're putting them in a very vulnerable position in school. What about bullying? What about changing rooms? What happens when they go through puberty? It's different. And children change. They change all the time. As you said, 98%, once they go through the natural form of 98% of children who have this gender identity, they're confused. 98%, once they go through the natural form of puberty, they're sorted, they're back. And so it seems, you know, this is a massive thing for a child to change their gender. It's a big thing, and it needs to be. We just feel that a lot of people haven't voiced our opinion because they're just pointed out as being transphobic or hateful. It's just like, you are hateful, but we're not at all. We think there needs to be an open discussion about it without being just ridiculed and pushed down.
Absolutely, and you've certainly started that discussion.
We have.
Looking at our poll.
Yes.
Our poll this morning was: would you have an issue if boys wore dresses and skirts in school? 50% said yes, 50% said no, so it is right down the middle.
It's over 7,000 people, actually.
I was quite surprised by that, actually.
That's interesting, so it is.
Kim Turner says, I think a child should wear whatever they feel comfortable and confident in. Kimberly says, my son will wear boys' clothes, my daughter will wear girls' clothes. Surely it's that simple. Kitty says, I think we should let children be themselves. That includes wearing clothes that they feel most comfortable in. Andrew says, I think boys should be wearing trousers, only girls should wear dresses. And Debbie says, let children wear whatever they want, but be prepared for the question and consequences from other children and their parents. Not everyone raises their children to be quite so open-minded. Thank you very much indeed. We should probably read this, because I think you're going to have a bit of a battle on your hands, because you're saying you're going to a tribal... Jeff Williams, the Director of Education for the Diocese of Portsmouth, said, Church of England schools are inclusive environments where pupils learn to respect diversity diversity of all kinds. Like any other state school, our schools comply with the legal requirements of the Equalities Act 2010. Amongst other things, this requires schools to accept the wishes of children and their families with regard to gender identity. It would be unlawful for any of our schools to do otherwise. And because our schools have a Christian ethos, we also believe that children of all faith and those with none should all feel equally welcomed, valued and nurtured as children of God within our learning communities. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.